The rise and fall of the Qing Dynasty, how China lost its empire. Ever wondered how the mighty Qing Dynasty, the last imperial dynasty of China, crumbled? From its glorious peak to its devastating fall, this is the story of emperors, rebellions, and a nation struggling to survive. The Qing Dynasty, established in 1644, wasn't actually Chinese. It was founded by the Manchus, a nomadic group hailing from northeast of China. These Manchus initially brought much-needed stability and prosperity to a war-torn land. Think of them as the new management team that turned a struggling company around. Early emperors like Kangxi and Qianlong oversaw a period of significant territorial expansion. They were empire builders, adding vast swathes of land to the Qing domain. Economic growth flourished under their rule, a golden age of trade and innovation. This era is often referred to as the High Qing period, a time of unprecedented wealth and power. The Qing cleverly adopted Confucian principles to legitimize their rule in the eyes of the Han Chinese. It was a smart political move, gaining them acceptance and authority. They also integrated Han Chinese elites into the government, creating a power-sharing arrangement. This helped to quell dissent and ensure a smoother transition of power. However, beneath the surface of prosperity, cracks were beginning to appear. Rapid population growth put a massive strain on the country's resources. This led to land scarcity, with more people competing for a limited amount of arable land. Imagine a crowded city with not enough apartments to go around. Increased competition for jobs further exacerbated the problem, leading to social unrest. People were struggling to make ends meet, and resentment began to simmer. Corruption within the bureaucracy became rampant, undermining the efficiency of the government. Officials were lining their own pockets, neglecting their duties. This corruption eroded public trust as people lost faith in the ability of the government to serve their needs. It was a breeding ground for discontent and rebellion. The military also suffered from neglect, with outdated equipment and poor training. The once mighty Qing army was becoming a shadow of its former self. Military technology was woefully outdated compared to the advancements being made in the West. They were fighting with swords while others had guns. The 19th century witnessed increasing Western influence and encroachment on Chinese territory. European powers were eager to exploit China's vast resources and markets. The Opium Wars, 1839 to 1842 and 1856 to 1860, brutally exposed the Qing's military inferiority. These wars were fought over the British opium trade, which the Qing tried to suppress. China was forced to sign unequal treaties, granting significant concessions to Western powers. These treaties were a major blow to Chinese sovereignty and pride. Western powers gained trading privileges, allowing them to flood the Chinese market with their goods. This undermined local industries and further weakened the economy. Extraterritoriality was granted to Western powers, meaning their citizens were exempt from Chinese law. They could commit crimes and get away with it, fueling resentment. Western powers also gained control over key ports, effectively controlling China's trade routes. This gave them immense economic and political leverage. These treaties severely weakened China's sovereignty, turning it into a semi-colonial state. The Qing dynasty was losing control of its own destiny. The unequal treaties drained China's economy, as wealth flowed out of the country and into the hands of foreign powers. It was a slow bleed that weakened the empire. The Taiping Rebellion, 1850 to 1864, was a massive civil war that further destabilized the dynasty. Millions died in this conflict, which challenged the Qing's legitimacy. Attempts at reform, such as the self-strengthening movement, aimed to modernize the military and economy. But these efforts were often too little, too late. The self-strengthening movement focused on adopting Western technology, but it failed to address the underlying political and social problems. It was like putting a new engine in an old car. The Boxer Rebellion, 1899 to 1901, an anti-foreign uprising, was brutally suppressed by a coalition of Western powers. This further humiliated the Qing and exposed their weakness. The Boxers believed they were invulnerable to foreign bullets, but they were quickly proven wrong. The rebellion was a desperate attempt to resist foreign influence. By the early 20th century, the Qing Dynasty was teetering on the brink of collapse. The empire was riddled with internal problems and facing immense external pressure. Revolutionary sentiment grew, fueled by a desire for a stronger, more modern China. People were tired of the Qing's incompetence and corruption. The death of Empress Dowager Cixi in 1908 removed a key figure of stability, leaving a power vacuum. She had been a powerful force in Chinese politics for decades. The Wuchang Uprising in 1911 triggered a widespread revolution, ultimately leading to the dynasty's downfall. This uprising was the spark that ignited the revolution. This uprising spread like wildfire across China as people rose up against the Qing regime. The dynasty was unable to contain the rebellion. The abdication of the last Qing emperor, Puyi, in 1912 marked the end of the dynasty and the imperial era in China. It was a momentous occasion that changed the course of Chinese history. Puyi was just a child when he abdicated, a symbol of the dynasty's weakness and decline. His abdication marked the end of centuries of imperial rule. The Qing dynasty's failure to adapt to changing circumstances ultimately led to its demise. They were unable to modernize and compete with the Western powers. Their failure to address internal problems, such as corruption and land scarcity, contributed to their downfall. These problems created widespread discontent and unrest. Their inability to resist foreign aggression led to the loss of their empire, as they were forced to cede territory and sovereignty. The Qing dynasty was simply overwhelmed by the challenges it faced. The Qing dynasty's collapse marked a significant turning point in Chinese history, paving the way for a new era. It was the end of an empire and the beginning of a new nation. Want to delve deeper into the fascinating history of China? Leave a comment below with your favorite historical fact about the Qing dynasty. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more captivating historical content. Click the bell icon to get notified of our latest uploads. Share this video with your fellow history enthusiasts, and let's keep the conversation going.